Hi, this is Munira from Chicagoland. I am the CEO and founder of Kismet Ventures Inc. And I'm a John Maxwell certified coach and trainer, mentor, influencer, and challenger. I am on a mission these days to pick people who are adding value to others, and I'm on a mission to expose them and then promote them by asking them a lot of questions. This is my way of bringing value into their lives, which in turn they instill into others' life. Today, our guest is Raj. Hi, Raj. Thank you so much
Hi,
for coming.
you're welcome. Thank you, Munira, for inviting me.
So, Raj, what I do is I ask people questions. This is an
Okay.
interview. So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Basically, just to go back, I'm originally from Hyderabad, India. I've been living in the US for the past 29 years.
Wow.
So, been blessed with a wonderful wife and two wonderful children.
Okay.
And from a professional side, I have been a corporate guy for almost 19 years. And for the past 10 years, I have been running my own business. It's a small business management consulting organization. We specialize in business transformation with focus on process and people.
Process and people.
Yes.
Okay. So, so let's go back to what you said. You said you came here 29 years ago from Hyderabad.
Yes.
What prompted you to move?
Basically, people will be surprised. There were two reasons I came here. One was to meet a person called Lee Iacocca. He was the CEO for the Chrysler Corporation, and he was an industrial engineer coming from a very average lower middle income family and rose to the level of a CEO. When I
Okay.
was when I was doing my engineering, I read his autobiography. I said, I need to meet this man once. And the second thing was I read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People,
Yes.
Dale Carnegie, and I wanted to attend the training on that. India was not offering at that time. So two reasons which really motivated me to come here.
And you stayed.
Yes, I came here, got my master's, and then I got a job, and the next. It's just settled down, went back and got married, children.
Rest is history, and that's your story.
Yes, I'm sticking to it.
Okay. So you said you worked in the corporate world. Uh,
Yes,
you worked in the corporate world for a long time. So
yes.
and you said 19 years. How can you tell us the industries you worked in and what were you doing in those industries?
Sure. The first couple of jobs were more like small, medium-sized companies. One was a family-owned business with about 200 employees, and I was a quality engineer there. That was my first job in the US. And from there, I went and joined a Warren Buffett company called the Scott Fetzer Group, and it was a manufacturing and quality engineer there. And I was working in the die-cast industry there.
Okay. So you have an engineering background.
Yes, I have a bachelor's in mechanical engineering, a master's in industrial engineering.
Okay. So engineering is different from process and people. So how
Yes.
did you go from there to here?
So I did the mechanical engineering, and my first job in India was as a design engineer, what mechanical engineers do. And I realized I was more of a people person. And sitting in front of a computer or a drafting board and doing designs got very boring after the first 2 days.
Okay.
So I knew I had to change. So I went into industrial engineering where I deal with manufacturing and a lot of manufacturing people and process. So that was my first exposure. That's why I changed my major in my master's to industrial engineering.
Okay. And so, what is the difference for those of us who don't understand the mechanical engineering and industrial engineering? I mean, engineering is engineering to me, right?
Now, mechanical engineering are mostly dealing with parts and designing different pieces of equipment or products.
Okay.
Industrial engineering is more with the operation of how do you consistently manufacture those with high quality? And how do you take care of the people and make sure all of the processes are such the people are working efficiently to maximize the productivity?
So am I correct to say that you're doing process improvement in industrial engineering?
Yes. In fact, I specialize in Lean Six Sigma, and that is the next story. The third company I worked for was General Electric.
Oh.
And I worked there for almost 13 years. And when I left GE, I was a senior VP for Lean Six Sigma and strategic operations.
Great. So tell us a little bit about Lean Six Sigma. I know a little bit, but in your own words.
So Lean Six Sigma is almost a very good management thinking process for process improvement. It is heavily involved with statistics and data to really solve tough business problems. So just to share a little more example, it has got 5 phases of it. It is called DMAC: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So any problem we have, we put it into the DMAC framework. And there are certain statistical tools we use at every phase to go back and analyze things. So as a Six Sigma person, you know what we say? In God we trust, everybody else brings data. You can tell me everything you want, but I need the data to analyze and prove what you say.
Okay, I see that. No, so, and I was a student of Lean Six Sigma. I've done a few courses there, I have a yellow belt in that. And it's really process improvement is like, how can you make your life easier?
Yes.
That's the whole process. And you know what? And when I remember I was doing that in my corporate job, because I used to be in corporate as well. And we were learning that. And the instructor that was teaching us, he was like, I am such a nut, because that's all I do is live, breathe Lean Six Sigma, because even my fridge, the way it's arranged, and I was like, this is not, this is not something that you do. And when I learned it and I absorbed it and I understood it, I do the same thing. So, everything is arranged in such a way where everything has to be easy and it has to make sense.
Yes.
And I have kids who, when they come in, the milk is a certain way, and they'll always question it. And I say, you need to go do the Lean Six Sigma thing.
No, that is very true. In fact, I have trained so many people across 28 different countries. My daughter became a black belt when she was 19 years old. So she got the training at home, and she went and became a certified black belt when she was in college.
So you want to specify the black belt is in Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma, because that's the highest level of achievement you can get in that category. Because
there are 2 more levels.
Oh, 2 more levels.
Basically, you have the yellow belt, then you have the green belt, then the black belt, then the master black belt, and then the quality leader.
Oh, okay. So, I knew up to green, that's it. And I never went forward because I knew everything that I needed to know for my life to run.
Yeah.
So after corporate, you left corporate and now decided to come into your own business.
Yes.
So you said something about process and people. So explain what your business does and who is your ideal client.
So my ideal clients, I go back and look at small and medium-sized companies. I start around 50 to 60 employees all the way to about 1,000 employees. Okay. I classify companies based on people rather than the sales volume they have. In the industry, generally they say small business is 250 million, medium business is 250 million to 1 billion, and that is the way they classify. But the complexity of the small companies increases with number of people.
Okay.
And that's the reason why I classify my customer base and segments based on that.
So do you look for industrial type businesses or somebody in what is your customer base look like?
I work with because I'm industry neutral. So just to give you an example, I work with commercial banks and financial institutions. I work with insurance companies. I work with chemical manufacturers. I work with warehouses, industrial warehouses and distribution centers. I work with language services, translation and interpretation services. So I have my customer base across because the toolkit I have doesn't matter which industry it is.
Okay, so it's used on any platform or in any business on any platform. So
Exactly.
what is it exactly that you do?
So basically, one of the things I start with their strategy. Let us say I take an example of an 100-employee company, just to give you an example. I go back and help them and say, is the leadership team, generally when you have an 100-employee company, either you have the founder or you have their CEO or the general manager kind of a person running the shop. So, and they have like 6, 7, 8 people as their direct reports. And I go back and do what I call an organizational assessment to see if they're all aligned on the strategy and the roadmap to get to their strategy. I have different tools. I do that for them. And then I help them to design the org structure in such a way that the roles and responsibilities are very, very clear. So let me elaborate a point here. I call my job descriptions 3D job descriptions. A lot of people in HR would not even understand what 3D is.
Okay. I don't, so explain.
So the first D stands for the key accountability piece of it. So every single job has anywhere between 3 to 5, maximum 6 key accountabilities.
Okay.
And the second part of it is each one of those key accountability, there are certain activities that will give them the direction, what activities they need to focus so that the key accountability is achieved.
Okay.
And the third part of it is the KPIs, the key performance indicators. Those are the metrics attached to the key accountabilities.
So you're a data guy.
I am a data guy, yes.
Okay.
It is interesting that I have data, half of it, and half of it I'm very emotional. I am an emotional intelligence certified person. I have almost like 21 different certifications.
Nice. How come they're not on the wall?
They're on the other side of the wall.
Okay. Okay. So I've gone into small businesses myself, but I'm not looking at 50 people. I'm looking at smaller businesses.
Yes.
And most of them have an idea of what their business should look like. But,
yes.
And we know, and I know, and you know, because we are coaches, mentors, challengers, and everything else,
yes.
that there is a problem with their business because something is not working for them.
Yes.
They have pain points, and every business does have a pain point because you're in business and I'm in business, and we know that there's some kind of pain point.
Yes.
So my question then is that when you go and approach a business, because we have to look for our clients.
Yes.
How do you find, or how do you help understand the founder or CEO or whoever the decision maker is that, you know, you need my help? Because most of them are so straight-minded that they don't want to, everything in their company is right and nothing needs to be changed.
Yes, yes. So generally, I always talk to them about the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay, so the vision.
Because the people are really optimistic and everybody wants to grow their business. And people don't want to talk about their weaknesses. So I don't talk about their weaknesses or problems. I talk to them more about their opportunities. I want to look at it from a positive side of it.
Okay.
And I go back and ask them, what are their 3 to 5 year goals? And once they start explaining to that, I bring in some of the tools and have a much more detailed discussion to identify where there might be some roadblocks for them to reach those goals.
Okay.
And then generally they go into that and say, this is the problem I had last year, this is the problem I had 2 months ago, or things like that. So eventually they come and identify the problems. But the starting point is people love to talk about their growth and their sales. And that's why I focus on the positive side of it rather than the negative side of it.
So that's something that that's a good takeaway, because look at the positive, don't look at the negative. And many times, you know, we as coaches always try to find a problem instead of a solution before going in. And so that's a very good idea. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, so you go in, and then how many times do you have to touch a client, a potential client or customer before you get the business?
So generally, I should tell you, because I'm already in the business for about 10 and a half years. The first 4 years, it was anywhere from 8 to 10 touches.
Okay.
And basically, knock on wood, right now, basically, my existing customers give me all the leads I need to grow. So right now, I'm very, very comfortable. I zero marketing for my side. It is all coming through referrals.
Okay.
And my customers have become so comfortable with me that I have 12 customers who have been with me for the last 7 years.
Great.
So every year they have something or the other, because I help them with their strategic plan for the next 1 year and the 5 years. I have a process. So I'm always talking to them. And based on we identify some things that need to be changed, and I help them with that.
So this is a question because, we have to, as personal growth, and in that business of, when we are in corporate, we always have to keep growing.
Yes.
How do you allow what needs to be changed in a business? If I'm sitting with you today and say, this is my 5-year goal.
Yes.
I haven't even figured out what my 6-month goal is, but how do I look into that future and say, okay, this is my 5-year goal?
So if they're not able to see that, basically we go back and tell them how much have they been growing for the last 3 or 4 years. So remember, most of my clients have been in business for a certain time.
Okay.
So they have 40, 50 employees. So the business has been there I generally go back and work with them to make sure that they have been in business for at least 3, 4 years. I do coach and mentor somebody who are like startups, less than 10 employees, but that is something they have come to me because they heard of me and they came through a referral.
Okay.
But anybody 50 to 60 employees, they generally have been in business for 3, 4 years, and they can talk about some of the things they have experienced.
Okay. And I know you didn't say this, but I'm going to just throw it out there. You travel a lot as well.
Yes.
For
Yes.
work or pleasure?
Work, both. Pleasure is 2 or 3 times a year with the family, but the rest of it is business.
Okay. So, and you have international customers as well?
Yes.
Oh, good. So where in the world do you travel?
So just to give you, between last year and this year, I traveled to 12 different countries.
Okay.
China, India, Philippines, Singapore, Dubai, Australia, Italy, England.
So how big is your company?
Basically, I have a unique model. I am only one person, but I have 11 other associates who work with me. So we are like independent consultants, but we all go as a group and we share work with each other to help us all keep busy and growing.
So is this like a certain expertise of each person that you have?
Yes, basically we are 12 people, but there are 4 people who are expert on the people side. There are 3 people who are expert in the sales side. There are 4 people expert in the Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma side.
So what you're telling me now is that collaboration works.
Yes, exactly. We are more than collaborations. We are like partners.
Okay. No, that's awesome because, I'm out there in the world. I'm working with different coaches. I'm talking to a lot of people now that I'm doing these interviews. And I find that many coaches do not want to collaborate.
Yes, yes.
And I don't know what the fear is, but I feel that if you're going to handle a client, it's better to nobody is good at everything.
Yes.
And so, bringing a little bit and a piece of this and a piece of that, we can make this client a happy one and sustain him for a certain amount of period, because then that person comes to us because we find all the solutions. It's like all solutions under one roof, right?
Yes, yes.
And I find that many coaches or many people in that business do not want to collaborate because they are in fear.
Yes.
Of, I don't know, maybe they want their cake and eat it too, I think.
No, it is. I think the way I experience, I can talk from my experience, is you need to develop the trust, not just from a integrity perspective, but the trust from the subject knowledge and the expertise as well. So it takes quite some time to develop those relationships. It will not happen overnight. So
Okay.
the way I was always doing is, if I needed some help, I called up people and said, hey, I'm looking for this. Can you help me? And sometimes basically I said, I'll pay you a fee for it if you want me to pay you a fee. And most of the time, fortunately, they said, no, don't worry. It is a couple of hours here, a couple of hours there. And that through that, I go back and develop the trust. They know who I am. And then we go through that. The interesting part is a lot of people said, Raj, what kind of legal agreements? I said, I don't have any legal agreement. Basically, because you bring your client, I bring my client, we collaborate when there is an excess work.
Okay.
So my rule is simple. Let us say I have a client, and let us say it is $10,000 worth of an assignment, and I have to be in China and I can't do it. So let us say I bring you in. So the discussion is, hey, my invoicing is 10,000. This is my customer, my marketing and other expenditures are 15%. So I keep 1,500. The 8,500, you do the complete assignment and you get 8,500. Let us say I do half of it, you do half of it. We split the 8,500 by 2. So I have that simple formula. So somebody wants to cheat me, they can cheat me once. If I want to cheat them, I can cheat them once, and then we move on.
There is room for cheating.
That's all it is. So I'm telling you, I don't want to even worry about it, because I wanted to do the business. I want to do what I love to do. And that's what I'm doing. So I don't want all of this hassle going around that.
That, so that you have a lot of, good points. So you taught us today that there is, be patient. Your business is not going to grow overnight.
Yes.
It's like planting an oak tree, right?
Yes, yes.
So number one. Number two, collaborate, but build trust. Trust
Yes.
while you collaborate, because that's when you learn the values that everybody else brings to the table.
Yes, yes.
Anything else you want to tell us?
So any entrepreneur who is in our kind of business have to be a continuous learner. That is one other thing I tell people. Basically, every year, I try to finish at least between 40 and 50 books every year. That's my reading goal every year.
Okay.
And I'm always learning something new. So just to give you an idea, I am thinking of my 5-year plan as well.
Yes.
So with my 10 years of this thing, I want to take my business to the next level. So there is a product I have built. Right now, I'm in the process of building everything. It's called EGOS, Entrepreneurial Growth Operating System.
Oh, okay.
So it is called EGOS. It is a product which I'm very proud of. And 2 of my clients motivated me to come up with it, because they said, Raj, you're doing so many things. You need to create this. So those customers helped me to design the whole program.
Nice.
And I have not even spoken to anybody. I just spoke the idea with 3 people, and 2 people already accepted it. So the pilots are going on right now. But the website, the marketing material, everything else will be launched as of January 1st. So just to give you an idea, I have been thinking about it since 2017 and 18 was the incubation period, creating everything else, along with doing everything what I'm doing. But I'm already thinking about 19 and 20, what I need to do.
Okay, so and then you're telling us also to keep growing, because if you don't grow, so for you, so basically you read 1 book a week.
Almost. That is what my goal is.
How much do you retain of what you read?
So basically for me, I don't retain a lot, but I know where to go when I need comes. Or if there is something of interest, I go back. So basically what I spend a lot of money on books. So I am one of the best customers for Amazon because of the bill I pay them every year. So I do, instead of flying, I try to drive a lot, and I hear to the books on tape. So I buy the audio version, and I hear them. And then when I like it, I order the physical book and highlight everything because I remember from the listening what I need to highlight.
Yes, okay.
So I have both the copies. So it costs me twice the cost, but it really helps me there.
So how big is your library?
My wife says too big. So I should have about 5,000 books, I should say.
Okay, so who's your best author?
Basically, I don't say best author because every field has somebody different.
Okay.
So if you go back and look at sales, basically Zig Ziglar comes to the name.
Yes.
You talk about leadership, John Maxwell comes to them. You talk about strategy, basically for me, it is Bill George and Laftley coming to the picture. So each one of them have if you talk about innovation, Vijay Govindarajan comes to my mind.
Okay.
So each subject, each field, I have a few people whom I'm a big fan of.
Great, great. So keep growing, be patient, and collaborate by building trust.
Yes. And I tell people, just go back and give to the community if you can. So I spend a lot of time mentoring a lot of people across the globe, basically. Okay. And that way I'm improving my coaching skills. I'm sharing what I have and helping others. Okay. And I very strongly believe in that piece as well. So when I get a chance, if I'm free, I'm coaching somebody somewhere in the world.
Okay. So how do you find those people?
They find me.
They find you. Okay.
So right now I have coached so many people that they talk to somebody else and they send me an email. So when I have time, I tell them, okay, I have time. If you want to talk, let us talk. And the way I tell them is I give a lot of homework for them if they want to grow. And after the second session, they don't want to call me back when they're not interested because the homework is too much for them.
So that's how you weed out your people.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's a good way. That's a good strategy because everybody wants something for free, right?
Yes.
And so, but you have to be willing to put the work in it. Exactly. I had a coaching client a few months ago where, I gave her these assignments. She couldn't figure out her goals. And I gave her this workbook, something that I created, and it was 17 pages. And she looked the first time I sent it to her, she goes, it's too long.
Yes.
Well, it's long because you have to print it out and write on it. I had created spaces for it, for them to write. It's not just a verbiage text or something that you can, but you can use that and create your own Word document and start writing,
Yes.
She didn't like that either. So, she didn't sign up for the coaching. She says, you're not my coach. But she did that to 3 other coaches.
Okay.
So because she didn't want to put in the work. And I think people come to coaches because they feel like you have the magic answer.
Yes.
But coaches, I know, and you know that when we coach people, the answer is within that person himself.
Yes.
And we have to pull that out by asking questions and allowing them to think through the process.
Yes.
And it's very hard because most people think, just give me the answer. It's a magic pill. So once you tell me, then I'll know.
Yes.
It's not.
No, I understand. And that's the reason why the homework and the weeding out. But I'm very interested in seeing your book. If you can share, I would love to see that.
My book?
The workbook you gave for goal setting?
Oh, okay. I can send that to you.
Oh, that'll be great. Because I'm a very curious guy. I always keep on reading and looking at stuff.
Thank you. I'll send it to you. But is there anything else you want to share with because this is going to go on YouTube.
So what I would say is basically whoever wants to get this have to enjoy it. If not, get out.
Okay. So enjoy what you do.
Yeah, love what you do. If not, find a job. Because I have so many people who wanted to do this and within 6 months they went back and found a job. Because the initial 2 to 3 years is tough, very tough. It doesn't matter what people say, it is very tough. But after that, you understand it and you're continuously learning and willing to change. It creates a very nice foundation.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. For those viewers who are watching this will be a recording on YouTube. Please like it, share it, and subscribe. And we will send Rajesh his web page on. It's going to be in the description if you want to connect with him. My page will be on there too, so you can connect with me. And let's grow and collaborate. Thank you.
You're welcome. Appreciate it.